All right.
It's not centered.
What?
If you can center it. If you can center the video.
Someone's being a
Okay,
perfection.
excellent.
There we
Excellent.
go.
Oh, it's not centered. All right.
It's more steady. It's more kedusha.
Okay, this is good. Okay. I'm still focusing in on the last words on the page, Kuf Nun Dalet. Yisham Shorshe Hu Amiti. Although we discussed it, but really this is an extremely rich 2 words. And every time I think about it, I said, hey, I did not really bring it out to its fullest. So we have all kinds of mishalim that we used to enable us to get into it and discuss it. Here is what came to me. I think that this will kind of hit it home. Shorshe Ho'amiti means, that person translated the words. A person may be understanding and acting within a certain parameters. But what is the truth behind these activities? What is the real shoydish? What's the real enabler for these activities? And here's the point. We walk the earth. We don't walk the earth, we always walk a certain area. We don't cover the whole earth, we cover a certain area. This area, as we are walking it, we are conscious of the boundaries of this area. You walk in Crown Heights, so you know you're walking Crown Heights. You walk in Brooklyn, you know you're walking in Brooklyn. And therefore, it would seem that we are really oriented within the boundaries of the area that we are covering. There's an interesting thing to contemplate. That there is what's called the Shorshe Ho'amiti. What is the real enabler for a human being to throughout the earth what is the difference? Again, I'm stepping up to a muscle. What is the difference? A free person who can walk any place he wants. So even when he walks in a certain direction, he is not bounded by this direction. He is free to choose anything else. Or a person who's a prisoner, who is allowed to walk, and he has his boundaries where he's allowed to walk, and he cannot venture out. They're both walking in the same track. The difference is not only in the fact that he cannot venture out. even those few steps that he is able to do, it's a completely different sense of the reality in which he's working. And here's the thing which I thought I have to bring it out, and Hashem will get to it. As we walk the earth, whether we walk a large area or a small area, or even if we just stand up on the earth, we stand in one place. We are never focused and bounded by the particular place at which we are standing. We are at all times very deeply aware that we are standing in a completely different environment. We spoke many times before that there is this phenomenon that we open our eyes and we look into the open horizon and we see an infinity of space, the whole world, all the way down to the sky, up to the sky. Then when we come back to our reality and we start looking at our little place, that little place in which we function, having seen the broad reality going all the way into the stratosphere, remains with us. That experience remains with us. And thus when we are focused and limited to this particular spot, we are keenly aware in a very subtle and a very hidden manner that this little place is really representative of an unlimited infinity, of the reality of the world, the reality of existence. And this is where we are traveling. This is where it's constantly repeated to us that the koyach ha'odam, the koyach ha'nefesh, the lowest, the functional koyches, re'iyah, shmiyah, sight, hearing, touch, and we all know that even though with all the koyches, even touch or shmiyah, we can actually follow through to the entire world. Re'iyah, sight, which is a physical representation of chokmah, has a completely different representation. We never, when we see an area, we don't see the area in isolation. In sight, we see the area as part of an infinite spread, which is the principle of chokmah. Jesus explains that chokmah is really bringing a sense of a godly sense into our thought. We don't, even though we're able to describe it and give it limits, that is not the basis of our understanding in Chachma. In Bina, yeah, but not in Chachma. Very clear. I'm sorry. Chachma, this is why Chachma is called Koyach. It's called the Koyach and the key, because Chachma is oriented to the divine source. As far as this source element, I have to explain a principle. We have, as we know, we always speak that we have the nefesh, we have Untitled and Rtzon. Then we have kochas of Chachma, Bina, Das, and kochas of Seckel. What is the primary difference between Untitled and Rtzon and Chachma? Chachma is also, so to speak, limitless. The primary difference between Untitled and Rtzon and Chachma. This is why Untitled and Rtzon are called kochas nefesh, and Chachma is called a koyach, a practical, functional koyach. The difference is that in Untitled and Rtzon there is not a sense whence this comes from. It does not have a beginning. Chachma has a beginning. This is where Untitled and Rtzon becomes translated within a worldly context. It has a beginning. What is the meaning of worldly context? The meaning of the worldly context is, it may be shocking, but that is really our experience. Prior to Chachma, the meaning for Untitled and Rtzon and those koiches, we are not at all conscious, we're not at all experiencing that we are within a certain boundary, there's a certain limit within which we are functioning. We are completely open-ended, so to speak. We're going straight out to the reality itself. There is not even a source for this. This is reality itself. This is the way it is in sight. This is the way it is in Chachma. This is why Chachma is identified with seeing a Elokus, because Chachma relates to that which has no beginning. The reality itself as it is unto itself. When we look out with our eyes inside, at a glance into the horizon, we are looking into the infinite reality of the world. We're not looking at the created world. We're looking at the reality itself. Without beginning.
Sorry, I'm just confused. Chachma doesn't have a beginning, and Untitled and Rtzon have a beginning.
No.
Both of them.
No, those Rtzon do not have a beginning.
Yeah.
And Chachma, the Chachma is what translates the Untitled Rtzon in Seckel, and therefore in Chachma there is an element of beginning. That's what Chachma is.
There is an element.
Yeah. Untitled Rtzon has no beginning at all. That's why Chachma is really based on Untitled Rtzon.
So Chachma has an element of beginning.
That's right. A hidden beginning. That's why we just learned in Tanya. Chachma is called koyach ma. Koyach ma means a koyach that has no definitive quality. You can't touch it, you can't identify it. Ma, what is it? There is no definition to it. What's the implication of what koyach ma? A koyach, when you touch, you have the beginning. When the touch comes to be. Koyach ma means that it's a koyach that has no beginning, has no boundary, even though it's a koyach. But this koyach, this is what Chachma is unique in all other koyach. Chachma goes straight into the Untitled Chapter itself. I see it because it is real, because it is true. Even though it does have a beginning, but I'm seeing beyond the beginning.
Okay, so if we go back to the parallel between Chachma and sight, where is the element of beginning when you look at the horizon? Is there such a...
Okay, the element of beginning is this. We spoke about this many times before. The one difference between Untitled and Racon, which is Gottesman Shmuli Shmuel and sight. The difference is, sight, you can close your eyes and open them. Yes, you're seeing the intent, but you can ignore it as if it's not there. Untitled and Racon, you cannot clock out.
Okay.
Not blackout. You're always in Untitled and Racon. As long as you're alive, you're always in the reality of Untitled and Racon. So he coming back to the words of the Maimon, Shosheho Amiti, the true source. As we walk the earth, and we're always walking within a limited area. What enables us to trod the earth and without a feeling of confinement, but freely, that we're treading in, so to speak, in reality, is what enables us to have that open-ended experience is that every step, every last 2 inches that we identify, these are 2 inches are representative of the open-ended reality. We never oriented into this is why I said the difference between a prisoner and a freeman. A prisoner and a freeman can be walking the same track. A prisoner is limited. That this is a limited area where he stands. When a person open to the world, he's not standing on any particular area. He's standing on the entire world all the time. This is what we discussed the other day. Taking so to speak, a illustration from a child. And he said even the adult is like this. The child is constantly running to the next spot. Why is he running to the next spot? He's here because this spot where he is already including this next spot.
You're saying it's not just children.
That's right. They said that it's not just children, for sure not. By a child, you see it from his active action, but an adult, it's in a different way. But an adult also is definitely oriented towards towards the infinity that contains this little thought. We take always 2 times 2 equals to 4 as the simplest illustration of this. 2 times 2 equals to 4 is not 2 times 2 equals to 4. 2 times 2 is a principle, a reality in the entire world. 2 times 2 equals 4 is opening the gateway to 2 billion times 2 billion. The reason that we spoke about it, I want to reiterate, the reason that 2 times 2 is automatically 4 it's not just a conceptual thing. By mathematics, on paper it's 4. No, 2 times 2 is automatically 4 because each one of these 2 is only a small part from an infinite reality. These 2 is not a limit, an end in itself. This is just taking a sampling of the reality. That's what 2 is. But where it is rooted is in the reality itself, which is a different reality. This is the meaning of the words Shoshe Ho'amiti. What enables a human being to orient himself and to relate to anything real in the world? It is the sense that there's a shoresh amiti, there's a true source. True source means something which is limitless, something that comes from the principle of truth, not from a worldly definition. This is what enables to understand even the simplest things. The simplest things are merely a sampling drawn from the big reality. This is what the Bible says. Every action that a person does, even though it is bounded and he knows exactly what he's doing and so forth, this is not what enables him to do this action. What enables him to do that action is the sense that this little action really representative of the divine reality in which he functions, in which he exists. It is completely supported, it's completely fed, supplemented by the divine reality. This is the meaning of the word Shorsh Ho'amiti. Ho'amiti means the truth which does not need any proof. You don't see it, but it's still the truth. That's where the word Amiti comes from, it supplants over here. That which you see, you see. That which you experience, you experience. But then there is the emes. Emes is limitless. That's why emes is actually a reference to Elokus itself. Hashem Elokim emes. Hashem is emes. Emes is not a lie. Hashem is emes means that emes is exclusively by Hashem. Because emes means without boundaries, without a beginning. And that is Hashem. Yeah, I don't see the time here, my son.
It's, we have time.
You have time? Okay, fine.
It's 7, 8.
Okay.
7 or 8. Two different times.
What? You see the time there? What's
We're
the...
looking the phone.
Okay.
Yes, 7:11.
7:11, yeah. Still have time.
Oh, someone has a question?
Who is asking a question?
No
Hello?
questions. Avram, I'm just saying hello. Good morning. That's all. Let's take questions.
Oh, hi, Avram. Okay, fine. Good morning.
Hi, Avram.
Okay. I would consider this having done it. It's right now. We can go to the next page.
That last concluding, that last piece there, we went from the way that every inch is a sample of the greater reality, and then no mention of MS. What that last?
Oh, because the words in the Maimon is Shorshe Ho Amiti. What is the allusion of the word Amiti, MS? MS is that which does not have a beginning. MS is that which does not need to be proven, shown. MS is everywhere. That's why it's called Hashem Elikim MS.
Okay, and so thereby, every inch is basically nested, rooted inside that.
Every inch is rooted, and anything that you draw from that inch is merely a sampling of what reality of reality. It's not the whole reality.
Right, and one of the key points seem to be that it is a sample from truth, from
The truth, exactly.
When you say, when you speak about MS, referring to Elokus, and the concept of no beginning, would it help to catch this idea by saying that describing Hashem's existence before the world existed?
The word existence for Hashem is incorrect.
Yeah.
Presence is more
Present.
More in line. There's no existence.
So what we're talking about here, are we talking about Hashem's presence before the world was created?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hashem's presence is always. So the word emes means it is there because it is truth, not because it came into being.
Okay.
Okay. And here's what the Rebbe says in the Maimon. We have to focus in. The Rebbe says like this: a human being does an action. Phenomenal thing. And it does a very limited function. Like you said, a person takes a step. Did you find that action? And he's able to do this because it's a limited action. He's able to contemplate this action and do the action. What really enables him to make this one little step? let's project this in practical terms. Once we got into it, we might as well bring it home. Imagine that in a person's experience orientation, when he takes a step from here to here, he will actually sense that he is stepping out from one part of the world to another part of the world. This part of the world ends, and now he steps into a new part of the world. This experience, we can illustrate it. We once walked across a bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge, well, across a bridge. There are different areas there in the bridge. There's the area that's completely asphalted, completely covered. Then there's areas that is actually planks of wood. And you see through the planks of wood, you see right down to the river. As you're walking from one plank to the other, you're conscious of a certain insecurity. Even though you're conscious that you traveled through a no man's land all of a sudden. You're suspended in the middle of 500 feet above. Even though you're pretty secure. We never had this sensation as we walk the earth, even though in fact it's an infinity. The reason we don't have that sensation is because we're not walking on earth, we're walking in divine presence, which has no beginning and no end. We're not traveling from one place to another place that is disconnected to the other. It's all one thing, one reality. This is why we do not have that sensation. This is the pshat in the word, Shoshe Ho'amiti. Every step is rooted in the emes, not in what these steps provide for. Human thought is not rooted in what he is conscious, in what he knows, but is rooted in emes, in emuna, in racon and Untitled. This is why we say, this is an opportunity to bring it home, that we say Seckel, Chachma is rooted in racon and Untitled. What does that mean? Racon and Untitled means this is what I appreciate, this is what I know, what I want. Now Seckel, we pride ourselves to say Seckel is not a personal choice, Seckel is the truth. But then we say, wait a second, Seckel itself is rooted in racon, in what you want, in what you experience. It's a personal choice. It's not the truth itself. So how is Seckel representative of the truth?
It's the Racon HaNefesh, it's not personal.
That is true, but that is not sufficient to say that you're talking about the truth. So it's true by many reasons, but do you know the truth? When you speak of it in your Seckel, do you know it? Do you know what you're talking about? This is why we're saying, Chachma is rooted in racon and Untitled. Chachma is actually sensing the fundamental truth of racon and Untitled itself, which is a divine truth, not the worldly truth. This is why we say that Chachma, you're actually talking about the truth itself. Even though it came through racon and Untitled, Rotson and Untitled is the means by which the divine truth is provided for you. Now, once we got to this, I have to bring it home. Why is it called Rotson and Untitled? If this is what you choose, you want to know, so you want it. Altogether, what is the meaning of the word Rotson? Untitled is a personal experience. What is the meaning of the Rotson? The principle of Rotson is, as best as I can express it, is this. Hashem creates a world, and he creates a human being. Human being clearly is the unique creature in the entire creation. What's unique about a human being? Everything is created by God. What's the difference in human being and anything else? Human being was given the privilege of knowing of who he is. Every other creature is not aware of what he is. Human being was given the privilege to know. This is the Chachma. This Chachma begins from Rotson. Rotson means that what I have, this life element that I have, is not merely that I have it, but I truly appreciate it. I want it. This is the divine gift to the human being, that he can actually appreciate what he has. I want to live. Not out of a state of fear, maybe I'll lose it. No. This which I have is of the human being was given the privilege to appreciate what he has. And because he has the privilege to appreciate what he has, it's his Rotson, this is why he can later translate in the Seckel, in Chachma. Because he has an awareness of what his life is about. Every other creature, every other animal does not have that privilege.
Okay. Because he has this, therefore he can what? How does that go?
Because he has the privilege of appreciating, of Rotson and Untitled. This can then translate in his awareness of what it is that he has, in Seckel, in Chachma.
Translate into a more conscious.
That's right. Identifying.
And the origination of that knowledge.
Origination of that knowledge all the way back into the Esau Nefesh, in Rotson and Untitled.
Super conscious level, but there's somehow not, like you said, this privilege of knowing. It's sort of self-reflective. I mean, he kind of knows he's an emissary.
That's right.
But don't we see that animals want to live?
Animals, I don't know if you have time to. Animals do not have the principle I want to live. They don't want to be. They want to be disturbed. They don't want to be hurt. But he doesn't know that he's trying to save his life. Doesn't know what he's trying to save. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
All right, time is up. All right, Baruch Hashem. Thank you.
Good.
Good day, Baruch, Abraham.